everybody.
Hi. How are you doing today, my dearest friend?
Quite sleepy yourself.
Mm, a little emotionally drained. My job is depressing. I have to listen to really terrible stories from people and I just want to help them and I can't. So, it's a great time. Great time.
Yeah.
So,
But I did get an angelic pretty necklace in the mail
oh,
today.
that's pretty exciting. Yeah, I saw your little bat, your little purple bat. That was a
My
great
purple
time.
bat that I overpaid for, but he was worth it.
I know used angelic pretty jewelry is almost always overpriced, but I mean, hey, that's what we signed up for.
If I had the funds to get it when it was new, I would have gotten it
Yeah,
new.
yeah. Well, my name is Lizzie. What's your name? I know your name.
I'm Juliet.
Okay, so we're Lizzie and Juliet, and this is Bittersweet. Also, day one of my David's Tea Advent calendar.
I don't have a David's Tea Advent calendar, but I do have some David's Tea.
Yeah,
So
I got those pulled up. So, what are you drinking, my friend?
I am drinking the Candy Cane Crush because I have like a small selection of loose leaf
Oh,
teas.
nice, nice. So, I'm going to read the description for Candy Cane Crush because I looked it up.
Oh,
Yeah, a minty wonderland in a cup. This rich and decadent peppermint black tea is strewn with creamy white chocolate drops, crushed candy cane pieces, and tons of cute little snowflake sprinkles. Perfectly sweetened with an icy cool finish. It's the ultimate winter indulgence. Add it to your next mug of holiday eggnog for a festive twist.
I like holiday eggnog. Like it's eggnog's not holiday related already.
My family will always drink eggnog and they look at me like I'm weird because I will not touch the stuff.
Hey, I like it, but I only really like light eggnog. It gets
Mm,
so heavy.
no. So, this is a black tea with a low caffeine, so it's good for drinking at night. Good choice. Nice job.
Well, it has
Uh,
caffeine, which is probably not the best thing to drink before
it's
bedtime,
super
but
low caffeine though, and tea has
true.
negligible caffeine in it when compared to basically anything else.
That is true.
So I am drinking Let It Snow, which is day one in the Advent calendar. It really bothers me that Advent calendars aren't in numerical order; they're all jumbled. I don't like it.
Jumbled.
I don't like it. So like the one was in the middle row, and I didn't. It drove me crazy. Didn't like it. I might reorder it.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
then
let me. Where is that? Can I look at it?
the Advent calendar. I don't think they have a
Yeah.
picture. I don't think they have a picture of it open. I can send a picture of it to you later. But it's like
Okay.
not in numerical order, so it doesn't start with. You have to like find the one and then go to it. It's kind of annoying.
That is very annoying.
It's
What?
super annoying. It was like that with the calendar last year too, and I reordered it before I started. Like I put the numbers where they were supposed to go before I started drinking them, but this time I like forgot about it until this morning.
Oh, gotcha. And you're like, I haven't had time for this.
Yep, nope, I haven't. For shizzle. So I'm
And
drinking
I
Let It
got
Snow, which is a green tea, low caffeine. Ready for this description?
Oh, yeah.
Frightful weather ahead? Warm up with this delightfully creamy green tea with festive notes of white chocolate, cinnamon, clove, and custard. It's the perfect way to add a touch of cozy to your day. Serve it straight up in a teapot big enough to share, or spiked with brandy for a spicy winter warmer. Not cozy
You,
enough? Try it as a frothy tea latte.
hey, you know what makes this team better? Alcohol.
Yeah, yep. Let's just put alcohol in our tea. That sounds like a great idea.
For some
Wonderful.
reason in my mind, that does not work together.
I think maybe it could work with like a sweet tea.
Yeah, not my idea of a good time.
Yeah, I feel like alcohol would kind of ruin the tea. I like mixing alcohol with other things and not my tea.
Yeah, that's fair.
I will say I do think this would be good as a milk tea though, but I'm trying to drink them all as straight just so that I
To
can
get an idea.
yeah, to get like a feel for the tea. Um I do know that I will get some that I've had before because there are only so many teas that are safe to put in an advent calendar.
Right.
So I know that I will get, I mean, because they have the ingredients on the back of the box, so I know what teas are in it. I just don't know what order they're in. So this is day one.
That's the surprise.
I know, right? So even though it is December 1st, and I'm technically drinking it on December 1st, I don't know when y'all are going to be listening to us talking. Probably this weekend, we'll get several of our episodes out because I'm being ambitious, and I think we should try to record something every night till Christmas.
We can try.
We can give it a shot.
We're off to a slow start, but we're here to talk about Lolita.
Yeah, we are. It's true. I was trying to ease into the mood because you were nervous.
That's fair.
You feeling a little less nervous?
A little less nervous,
All right.
yes.
So, you may be asking yourself, dear listener, why are these two girls on the internet suddenly deciding on the 1st of December to record themselves talking about tea, literally and figuratively possibly, and Lolita? And that's because one of us, me, namely, is absolutely insane. That's why. That's why. But to be honest, we have sort of been planning and talking about doing this for a while.
We did try to start one before.
We did.
But we lost motivation.
We lost the drive. Well, that style, the original style that we were kind of going with which is like a Reddit dramatic reading video, those have really fallen out of style. They were kind of a flash in the pan.
Fair.
Because Sorrow TV hasn't posted for like a year and a half.
He did post that he almost got his channel taken away.
Yeah, because there were like 3 copyright strikes like in a row. Yeah, I saw that.
I do wish everybody who did that the best though, because I found their content insanely funny.
Yeah, same. I just go to the Reddit and read it in my own dramatic voice in my head. So anyway, so we've been talking about doing this for a while, and then finally last night I was feeling salty. I was a pillar of salt. And I found myself quite annoyed with a particular Facebook group that will go unnamed for now. But I think it may become obvious which one we're talking about at some point. And we'll
just call it this Lolita advice group.
Yeah, it's a Lolita advice group on Facebook. And there's been some interesting posts on it of late. That remind us that we are in an eternal 2020 summer.
Which, you're going to have to define that for me.
Oh, the summer. You're not familiar with the phrase, the summer never ends?
No.
Okay, so, oh wow, Juliet, I'm teaching you things. So,
you're teaching everybody things.
I know, yeah, I'm teaching everyone things, people who don't know about Lolita Summer. So, it's fairly common that the Lolita community has a massive influx of new people around summertime because school is getting out and people are getting like summer jobs or whatever. So there's always been this like, oh God, it's summer, we're going to get an influx of new people that we're going to have to deal with. But because of the yes, but because of the pandemic and lockdown, quarantine, and all of the above, summer has been the entire year of 2020.
See.
And so that's that. So now you can understand that. So I'm hoping that everybody listening to this, that we don't need to explain what Lolita fashion is, but I suppose maybe we should at least dedicate a couple of seconds to alleviate confusion or whatever.
Yeah, to alleviate any possible confusion.
Yeah.
First question, I appreciate you're here. However, there's going to be a lot of confusing things for you.
Yeah, so we are part of a niche Japanese fashion community that wears really frilly dresses, and that is literally the extent of it. There's no deeper meaning, there's no connotations with any sort of sexual thing, so if that's what you're here for, you can just scoot on out.
This is not the thing for you.
And I want a disclaimer, because I think I don't want to say that we're going to get mean, because I don't think we'll really get... I think that speaking it out loud makes it sound less mean than it does like when you type it in a Facebook chat post
Right. I
thing.
feel like a lot of people were taking things a
Yeah,
little too
they
personally.
were. They definitely were. And so this is a group that is it's a Facebook group that has really experienced Lolita, intermediate Lolita, and then absolutely nothing, right?
Bobby Lolita.
Yeah, Bobby, you are wee Bobby. And there's unfortunately, I mean, so obviously when you come into a group like that, you're not going to know everything. Nobody's expecting you to be perfect or to know everything, right?
No, there's a reason there's different levels of
Correct.
experience.
And there's nothing wrong with being a newbie at all. Like nobody begrudges newbies for being newbies. The problem becomes, and this is what was going on with these two posts in particular that I'm not going to get into details about because I'm sure everybody knows roughly. But questions get asked in that group, and these two in particular, that didn't really belong in that group because they were not really specific Lolita questions. And there's always a rotating door of the same questions asked by newbies, like every time. And this exemplified both of them, which was, can I take a dress that isn't Lolita and modify it to make it Lolita? And two, can I take a normie dress that is not a Lolita dress and incorporate it into my cord and have it still be Lolita? Cord means outfit, for those not in the know.
The no.
Right. So I was feeling really salty because I pointed out that perhaps it would be, to the benefit of the group and new people that were asking for advice, that maybe other new people were not necessarily the appropriate demographic to offer advice. Right? Because why are you going to go into a group full of all these experienced senior people in this hobby that you're wanting to get into and then not listen to them? Right?
It's to a point. I feel like a lot of people just want to be heard and just want their 2 cents in,
which is
whether or not their advice is appropriate.
And it's not even necessary. And the thing that really got to me wasn't necessarily that I thought that the new people on that post were offering bad advice necessarily. I think that there's this notion, and I don't want to say that being overly nice to new people is a bad thing, but toxic positivity is a bad thing. And I think that it is. I know that everybody wants to have fun on the internet and be happy, and we're having dark times in 2020. But at a certain point, life is not nice all the time, and it's not going to coddle you and use words that you like and appreciate, okay? And
positivity is definitely something that
toxic
we need to dismantle.
Yeah, toxic positivity, I could go on for days about toxic positivity. Like, being positive all the time is, like, actually detrimental to your ability to perceive reality. Like,
and
it's not good.
There's a reason why I despise the saying, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
because,
no.
Because no.
Sure don't.
No, shitty things happen in life.
They sure do.
And it's okay to be sad.
Yeah. And so, I may have gotten a little abrasive with one particular new person, and my post got deleted. It's fine. Whatever. I broke the rules. I did edit it and repost it, though, and it has not been taken down, so clearly the new version did not violate the rules. And my thinking that I had, this new person was telling me I had a crappy attitude, and, like, this is why people don't want to join Lolita, because we're all so mean. And it just made me think that the people who always accuse us of being mean are the new people that don't take the time to listen to the people who are more experienced.
Right. Like, I very, very rarely come across some quote-unquote mean Lolita.
Yeah, and the thing is like, yes, do they exist?
Yeah, there's toxic Lolitas.
They exist.
Absolutely.
But they primarily exist on the anonymous messaging board that also shall remain nameless. So just don't go there, right? I mean,
and they kind of exist in their own little bubble.
They do, and because everyone knows that if you were to be outwardly rude or awful to a person, like publicly or at a meet, that you would be ostracized. Like, actual poor behavior is not generally accepted. But I think it's a lot of young people coming into a group, and most of the experienced Lolita are, at least in their late teens, early 20s. Minimum, right? I'm in my 30s, but whatever, But most experienced Lolita have been in it for, at least a decade. So, they're more mature. And they aren't necessarily interested in, policing their speech to make sure you don't, get your feelings hurt. And most of the time when I see people accusing people of being mean or having a bad attitude, they're not even really saying anything that mean. Right?
They may have, they may have come across a little blunt.
Right,
But it just depends on...
that's the unfortunate reality of Facebook posts. And I'm starting to learn that I need to use emojis more because I come off more abrasive in text than I do speaking. Because I swear, I'm a freaking cinnamon roll. Like, I know I sound tough and scary on the internet, but I am, like,
you like to use periods.
I do. I like to punctuate.
The internet has a thing where if you use periods, you're very stern.
Well, see, I grew up on the internet. Okay, I'm outing myself a little bit. I do a lot of internet writing, roleplay, whatever. Not like bad, but just I write a lot, and having clear punctuation is really important to being understood. I'm also, a graduate in anthropology where I had to write a lot of papers and punctuation was really important. So I admit I write incomplete sentences with punctuation, and it can come off as sounding a little hoity-toity abrasive. In reality, I am a jelly bean. Like, I am the least threatening person you could ever meet. Until you ain't make me mad. Then I'm scary.
Yeah, but, just... If you make Liz mad in person, you kind of deserve it.
Yeah, that's true. There are not very many people in the world that anger me. Usually it's for a good reason. So, like, I'm not... Because I don't begrudge this person that ended up blocking me or whatever. Like, I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, you can't handle a critical conversation. That's on you. Right? Like, I'm going to move on with my life. Because you were way more bothered about it than I was. But so anyway, so this sort of instigated a thought in my head. Like, so initially I was a salt pillar and I just wanted to rant about, young people and newbies. And because I was really salty about it yesterday, and I did end up posting that a couple of things, which I think are still important to reiterate, but perhaps they'll sound less saying it in my peaceful podcast voice. May sound better. But one of the things I pointed out is that more experienced people in the community may come off frustrated and annoyed because there's been so much of people latching on to people that are giving them compliments or people that are reaffirming what they're doing, and they are brushing off the people that may have more experience who are giving them, better advice. And it's exhausting to be somebody who wants to help new people learn, right?
But not make them learn, the incorrect thing.
Correct. So it's exhausting trying to help people just to have them brush off your advice because they don't like it. And they stomp all over this hobby that you've invested time and money and love into. And they demand that you acquiesce to them, right? So I compared it, I probably saw the version of it that I ended up putting on my personal Facebook page, but I compared it to showing up to a basketball game, wearing soccer equipment, and demanding that they let you play because they both use spherical balls, right? They're not the same sport. Just because they both use spherical balls, just because Decora uses similar stuff to Lolita, doesn't make it Lolita.
It's one of the challenges with having a fashion that actually has rules.
Right, and, a petticoat will fit under a 50s vintage dress because they wore A-line petticoats. That doesn't make it Lolita.
style is still wrong.
Right? Yeah. So just because there are things that are similar or individual elements that are similar doesn't make them the same thing. And people are not telling you that's not Lolita to be mean. They're trying to help you figure out the rules. Right? And so,
Because you're asking for a reason, whether or not you've had any previous research or not. You're
correct.
asking, and you're getting an answer.
Right. And it's also exhausting because you answer so many of the same questions so many times that I'm not going to be the person, because I have started joining some Facebook groups that are about, deconstructing systemic racism and white privilege, which I'm not going to get into. But one of the things that those groups really, and maybe this has made me tougher, because they do not coddle in those groups, like, at all. And there's no reason to, right? But one of the things is they're like, if you ask a question that has been asked a lot, we're not going to approve the post. You need to search through post history. Right? Because the emotional labor that people give you is exhausting, right? So before you post, hey, could I cut this dress up and make it Lolita? Maybe you should search the group to see if somebody else has already asked that question. You'll see that they have dozens of times, and that the answer is always no. No, you can't.
There's nothing wrong with doing this. However, you need a fair amount of experience, both sewing,
True.
construction, and Lolita.
Right.
And there's so many Lolita dresses out there. There's so many options that it's not even worth your time.
Well, because the amount of time and money that you're going to put into buying extra fabric because the skirt isn't going to have enough in it to make it the right shape, and, getting everything that you're going to need, plus the dress, you might as well just buy a dress from Taobao. Right?
It can be the same, and it's already Lolita. Everybody knows it's Lolita.
Well, and it's one of those things where it almost always, because you usually have to take the whole dress apart anyway, and if you're not like a professional level seamstress, you're not going to be able to put it back together, like, without it being obvious it was taken apart. And the thing is that Lolita is so easy to make from scratch. It's literally rectangles.
You can make a Lolita skirt with just two rectangles, one for the skirt and one for the waistband.
I made a skirt in like 3 hours one night, and like wore it to a meet the next day, and like nobody could tell.
The thing is, you do still have to make sure you have enough fabric.
Correct.
Because if it's not full enough, it's still also not going to be Lolita, but...
In general, when I was doing my research to do my skirt, what I was seeing was 2.5 to 3 times your waist measurement to gather at the waistband to make it the correct shape. And that's cupcake. Like, I think I have a ton of Otome no sewing books now, and I'm really learning about how outfits are constructed and the shapes that are used to get those silhouettes. And I think that's like super important if you're going to try to modify or sew your own Lolita. You have to understand how the garments are constructed and why a vintage 50s pinup dress or whatever isn't going to work. Because you can look at it and see that it's not going to work.
But I have a degree in fashion design.
She sure does.
So I understand construction elements, and I can explain to you why a 50s dress wouldn't work. A 50s dress is the shoulders are offset. The shoulders aren't going to work. So you can't wear a blouse under it, which is rule number 1. You need a blouse. Don't come at me.
You can, but it's going to look weird.
Yeah, don't come at me. You need a blouse.
Unless it's a one piece. Unless it's a one piece with sleeves.
But a 50s is not a one piece
I know.
with sleeves.
I'm clarifying. It's fine.
The second thing, I'm thinking of like the normal pinup dress that I see all the time.
Yeah.
The second thing is that the waist is generally under the bust, so it's far too high.
Yes.
Some Lolita dresses are too high anyways.
Oh, there's no boob room.
But it's still just a different silhouette. And the other thing is that the A-line does not work for Lolita because it might be knee length, but it's the shape of it is wrong for the top part of it. A-lines are limited to basically classic pieces, and
Mm-hmm.
classic pieces have a lower waistline.
Well, and even the way that A-line skirts and dresses in Lolita are constructed are different. They're not circle skirts, they're gores.
Correct.
So even the way they're put together is wrong. So it's different. So even if you say A-line, that doesn't mean that it was sewn together the same way and that it's going to hold the same shape. Because one of the things, I watch a lot of historical sewing people on YouTube now, and Bernadette Banner and, oh no, did I forget the other girl's name? Morgan Donner. They do historical sewing and they reconstruct garments, and one of the things they talk about is the grain of the fabric is incredibly important in how it ends up being shaped in the end. And gores, when you make a gored A-line skirt, it's a completely different shape than a circle skirt.
I can attest to that. There's a thing called the bias of the grain.
Yep.
The bias of the grain is a 45-degree angle from how it's put together, in which it's the stretchiest. Circle skirts use that. Gore skirts cut that out.
They do. So it results in a completely different shape and garment. So a circle skirt A-line is not the same as a gored A-line. And that's why even when I was looking through some of the Otome no sewing books that I have, and I was seeing a couple that looked like they were maybe circle-ish skirts, I was a little confused, and I messaged you, and I was like, why is this? What's going on here?
I don't remember if I helped or not.
You did. You said that they're like you said that they're like 2/3 to half circle skirts, so they have like a different shape to them than a straight up circle skirt does.
A full circle skirt would be, a full circle.
Right, yeah, but it's panels. But so I've really, in just going through those books and just looking at the pictures of the patterns, has like really helped me understand like how the shapes work together to make the silhouette what it is. And so
Interested in hearing more about shapes of clothes and fabrics, let us know.
We will do a sewing episode, my friend. We certainly shall. I want to do a whole episode on Otome no sewing and all that jazz. I think it'll be great. The collection is growing, by the way. Volume 15 is coming out in December, and I pre-ordered it.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm getting it for the cheapest possible cost, which is $15.
Which is the original price.
Yeah, so I've been paying like I've been paying like $30 for most of my used ones, but they're basically like they're new. Like because when you buy stuff from Japan, man, it may be quote unquote used, but it's new. Like they're perfect. There's nothing wrong with them.
I love the standard of new and reused. That's a different topic for another time.
Yeah, the secondhand. I think we should do an episode on secondhand market and like the differences.
Japan, yeah.
Yeah, that buying secondhand in Japan is a completely different experience. So, in the same vein, I don't want this to come off as we don't want new people to ask questions. We do want you to ask questions, but we also want you to take some responsibility for doing your own research, because I'm not comparing Lolita fashion to like racism or whatever, but emotional labor is still a thing no matter what environment it's in. So like it's sure, if people want to offer advice to you, that's cool, but don't expect people to like build your entire outfit for you, right?
And don't cherry pick the advice you want to hear.
Yeah. Unless, of course, they're your roommate and you love them and you want to dress them up, and so you absolutely are finding their accessories for them.
Helping one person individually
that's different. That's
like
completely different. Yeah. Because, spoiler alert, my roommate got her first dress. I'm so proud of her. And we should do, speaking of her first dress being meta, we should do an episode about how meta is common for all of us.
Yes.
Like, they need to calm down. All of this is, of course, leading up to the fact that I was thinking, what would you want to have told yourself when you were a newbie? Like, what is the best advice that you could give? Because I don't want to say best advice you could give to newbies, because I don't want them to, like, think we're judging them. But, like, looking at yourself when you were new, what would you wish you had known, or what would you tell yourself now?
Definitely my personal advice for myself would be that don't try to do this too fast.
Right. Yeah.
Because looking back at the stuff that I had a friend who is a true full into Lolita, that could help me and everything, and I still try to call things that weren't Lolita Lolita.
Yeah.
And like the first thing I tried to make Lolita was just a mess, and I there's no photo evidence, and I will never talk about it.
And that's the thing. People are always like, "Don't you remember being new?" And it's like, "Yeah, we do." And it was awful. Like that's why
don't remind me.
That's why we're trying. That's why
help.
we're trying to help you not be like us.
And I got into Lolita in the 2012. It's been a while.
Mm.
Live journal days.
You're also a baby, and I always forget you're a baby.
Yeah, and uh, my baby she means 23, but anyway.
Okay, that's a baby to me. I'm 31. Okay, that's a baby.
But live journal days, and honestly, there's so many resources for newbies nowadays.
Yeah.
That I don't want to say there's not an excuse, but it's way easier than it used to be.
It's so much easier. Like a lot of the major Japanese brands, except for Angelic Pretty, ship internationally directly from their website, right? So you can just buy from the Japanese store and have it sent to you.
If you have the money.
Yeah, right. If you can afford it. But what I'm saying is that wasn't even an option in the live journal days. To get stuff.
I still have my first pair of used Bodyline shoes from LiveJournal.
Nice. I do not have my first dress anymore because, and again, and this is sort of piggybacking off what you said. I had been aware of Lolita and stalking the community and like stalking, that's a bad word. I've been invested. I suppose you could say I became a Lolita at heart at like 2008, right?
Don't do this to me.
I was really self-conscious, and back then there weren't a lot of options for plus-size Lolita because off-brand and indie brands weren't really as big. It was mostly just the main Japanese brands, Brando. And they just didn't accommodate the size that I needed. And so I had resolved myself to never actually being able to wear it, but I would just admire it from afar. But I didn't like get involved, like I didn't go to meets and I didn't get in groups and like try to talk to people. I just I just lurked.
Stayed at a distance.
Yeah, I just lurked, like I would check for new releases periodically, and I'd look at them and I'd save them and be like, oh, they're so pretty, but I understood what it was because I had somebody teaching me, right? And then finally, coming off the back of a really bad breakup in like 2014, like right when the transition was coming off of LiveJournal, like right when stuff was starting to get easier.
I remember the day when Lace Market was new.
Yeah, I think I made I don't remember, when did I make my Lace Market account? I gotta check.
My Lace Market is still linked to my LiveJournal feedback.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah, no, Lace Market is the feedback link that I send to shopping services, which I have some mad respect for the shopping services I've worked with, and I'm not going to tell you who they are because I don't want you to snatch them. For real though, like, I was starting to actually feel confident enough to try it right around the time the transition was happening. And so I sort of was coming on the cusp of things getting easier. But I don't still have my first dress, and this is why I don't want to edit my profile. I just want to view my profile. When did I make this account? I've been a member for 5 years. That's what it says. It doesn't give me a date.
It's mine. For almost 7.
Oh, man! Look at you! So, I don't have my first dress. I've said this so many times because I sort of rushed into it and I thought I knew what because I'd looked at pictures and I'd been like sort of watching the community from afar and I thought I knew what I was gonna like, right? And then mint chocolate happened. And it turned out I was wrong about what I thought I liked. And what I really liked was mint chocolate shot directly into my veins.
Mm-hmm.
Which is now what I'm known for.
It's your whole life.
Yeah, mint is basically my entire life. Though, to be fair, I've been sort of planning out, there are certain indie pieces, because I'm eventually trying to build up a casual wardrobe made up of off-brand and handmade pieces and indie pieces to like wear every day so that I can ditch pleb clothes. And a lot of that actually consists of a lot of more gothic stuff. I think it's your influence that's getting to me.
Okay.
But
so I'm ready for the whole world to hate me. I like to brand myself as bittersweet.
She's literally the definition of bittersweet, which is why we picked the podcast name Bittersweet, because it's a double entendre.
Not just black prints black colorways of sweet prints. That's not bittersweet. Bittersweet is creepy things in pastel colors or cute things in dark colors.
Yeah. And I feel like you pull that off very well.
And I don't really have a theme other than that.
Yeah, well, Halloween. That's like your theme.
Okay. Okay, I do have like a subset of my closet that's dedicated to just Halloween, but
yeah. Well, because I want to do that. I want to have like, this is the wardrobe. This is my fall wardrobe. This is my creepy like goth. I wear a colored wig with an all black outfit because why the frick not, right? But then sometimes I also want to wear a dress that's mint and covered in pink flowers. Like it's okay to like a lot of things, but it's when you're starting out, it's good to sort of narrow down so that you can build up your wardrobe, that your pieces are versatile, rather than you having a bunch of accessories that you can only wear with one outfit. And that's definitely the number one thing I would recommend for people, is to like figure out, like, you can start playing later, like, because one of my favorite things to do is to look at a dress and find a color in the print that's like maybe not super prominent, but it's there, and then pick that color to be my accent color. But if you do that at the beginning, you're really pigeonholing yourself. So it's a lot better to buy like neutral blouses, like black or white. And maybe you don't need those crazy orange bat shoes that are really cute, but you can't really wear them with a lot of stuff. Maybe you just need a nice pair of white tea parties or some black rocking horse shoes. And then you can start building up parts of your wardrobe that are more specific to certain looks you want to put together, because you have the versatility, right?
Mm-hmm.
And don't be afraid, like I said, mint chocolate needs to go straight into my veins. That doesn't mean that every single dress in my wardrobe is mint chocolate. I would say about 95% of them are mint. Okay, I would say probably about 85% of them, 85% of them are specifically mint chocolate prints. About 10% of them are just mint. And the rest of them are not mint. There's something else.
There's just a fun hodgepodge in there, and my whole wardrobe's a hodgepodge. I don't think other than lavender, I don't have any dresses that are like the same color.
So my general rule when a dress comes out, if I like it, if there's a mint colorway, I get it. If there's not a mint, I get the pink. If there's not a mint or a pink, I get the navy. If there's not a navy, mint, or pink, then I get the red.
Or if you just like the red, then the red.
Or just like, if I like the red the most, I get the red. I'm not gonna lie, I would die to get the Holy Lantern zipper JSK in navy. Like, I would burn my red one if I had the opportunity to have the navy one. Now, I love my wine colored zipper JSK of Holy Lantern. Love it. Got it in the first make to order when we thought it was gonna be rare, right?
Oh, those days.
Turns out not. Certain colors of it are rare, and navy is one of them, because I think they only re-released it like twice.
And I like some of the rare colors too. I really
Oh,
want
I
a
want the
lavender
I want
one
the
or a
orange
gray
one. I
one
want the
or the
orange
orange one.
one.
But I already have one in ivory, and I'm like, do I need more than
I
one?
know that's the thing. If that's why I said if getting the navy one required me to burn my red one, I would do it. That's how badly I want the navy dress. But it's fine. I'm not gonna pay like $500 for it. That's insane. I'm not gonna do that, right? Bringing it all back. The advice I would give to the other big thing that I think is really
TLDR.
important. Yeah, TLDR. And I wouldn't necessarily give myself this advice because I think I was relative like I'm not the one that's going to judge this, but I feel like I didn't step on any toes and I remained relatively humble and teachable, right? And that's the thing that's really important when you go into any group where you're new and there are more experienced people is to stay humble and don't think that you know everything.
Take a step back, listen to what people are saying, maybe see if a question has been asked before.
Yeah, and the other thing is to just not come in like a wrecking ball and insist you know everything. Like I've been researching Lolita for blah blah blah, and I know what it is. And it's like, okay, well,
Some of these
welcome
people,
to the club of people that all also know what it is.
and your definition of what it is slightly different.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's any hobby, right? And there are certain hobbies or certain circumstances where yeah, maybe new people are a little too mean to new people and like haze them or whatever. But I feel like the general mood in the Lolita community, and maybe it's because I've been in it for a while, and so I don't feel threatened by people, right? Like if people if people are criticizing me for something I said or something that I did, like I don't immediately lash out, right? Like I recognize that we're having a critical conversation.
Mhm.
And I just feel like, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact, and I'm not age shaming, and I'm not being ageist, but young people legitimately their brains are different, and I think, and that's why I have some friends that say they only ever go to meetups that are 21 plus because they don't want to deal with younger people, and I understand that sentiment. I really do.
Yeah, it's not saying that all young people are
No,
immature
not
by
all
any
young people are
means.
immature, and not all young people are, there have been some people in, my local communities who I didn't even realize they were under 18 because they acted so grown up.
I think you met me when I was like 19 or
Oh my god,
20.
you were a baby. I think you had just turned 19 or you were just about to turn 19.
Yeah.
Cuz Paradiso was my birthday weekend and it's before your birthday.
Yes.
Oh god.
We're both Geminis, by the
Yeah, we are,
way.
because our birthdays are only like a week and a half apart.
It's a little bit more. It's like 2 weeks, but
Is
anyway.
it? Is it a full 2 weeks? Whatever. I have 4 days off for my birthday this year. I'm so no more than that. I have 5. I have a 5 day weekend for my birthday in
And it's
2021.
like just over 2 weeks.
Is it just yeah? Well, we're close enough that I'm like right at the where Gemini starts. I think because I'm right at the end of May.
It's always in the middle of the month, like the
Oh,
20th.
well, yeah. My birthday's the 27th, so it's pretty close. Pretty close. Um, so yeah, so there's nothing wrong with young people per se, but just in general, it's best practice when you're entering a group of people that are more experienced than you, that you want advice from and that you want to learn from, is to listen, number one, to them, and two, to not throw your weight around as if you're an expert right away. Because maybe you are. Maybe you are an expert, right? But to get along in a community of strangers, of people that you've never met before, that's not a good first impression to march yourself in and act like you're hot shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think, and I think there are a lot of people that don't realize that Lolita is a major financial commitment and that, sure, we understand that you like the aesthetic and you don't have money to buy stuff right now and you want to use the stuff that's in your wardrobe. It's wholly likely that the things that you already own, as we discussed earlier because of construction differences, are not really going to work. Because just because you can put a petticoat under it does not Lolita make. Do you have any final thoughts?
I mean, just my final thought is I know that not everybody thinks the same way we do.
Right,
So
obviously.
so it's this is just the more personal advice for myself about just don't get ahead of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not going to come on here and say that you and I are the authority on Lolita, because there are
Oh, 100%
absolutely
not.
people who are far more experienced and far more talented in putting together an outfit than I am. But I am going to say that just in general, to get along with people, you just have to be more humble about yourself, right? And it's just a matter of making a good first impression, and just being willing to learn. That's all I'm going to say. Like, be willing and open to not always getting it right, because none of us got it right on our first try. And that's fine. Unless, of course, you are that one Lolita that emerged fully formed from the earth, perfectly coordinated. I don't think that exists, but
I think that's a myth and a legend.
yeah. So it's been a good time drinking some tea and chatting with
Yeah,
you.
my tea is all gone.
I still have a little because I had kind of a big tumbler. So we will be back tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Probably you won't actually listen to any of these until the weekend, and we'll release them all together. Yeah, it'll be a good time. So we don't have a topic decided for tomorrow yet, so it'll be a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your tea if you're drinking some with us, and we're recording this at night, so I hope you sleep well. Hope you have a good day. Take your medicine, drink water, and remember that you're awesome.
Stay hydrated.
Absolutely. And remember that you're awesome.